Dr. Joe Schwarz in his regular spot. He is host of the Dr. Joe Show, Sundays, 3 p.m. here on CJAD 800. He is also director of the McGill Office for Science and Society. Joe, got a couple of things to start with today. So if you'll just give me a moment personally here for a question I have, because I read something, on the internet suggesting that almonds, and I like nuts, almonds are the best of all the nuts. Is there such a thing?
It depends if you're looking at it health-wise
Yes.
or environmental.
Health-wise.
Health-wise, yes. All nuts are good. I mean, nuts contain omega-3 fats, which are, sort of the good kind of fats. They contain fiber. I eat a handful of nuts every day, but I put walnuts in there as well as cashews. But yes, you're quite right. In terms of straight nutrition, almonds are great. Now, what I did mention, though, is asking about health or environment. Unfortunately, almonds require more water than just about anything else that is grown. And they're grown in California, where they have a huge water shortage to start with. So there's that issue and a lot of controversy in California about growing almonds. But yes, nutritionally very good.
Where should I buy my almonds from if I want to have less of an environmental impact?
No, they have environmental impact everywhere because it's the almond tree that requires
water,
a lot of water to grow.
Okay. Well, Joe, thanks for spoiling it for me. Okay. Next up, I want to talk about this. This is fascinating. Something called super agers. So this is people who might be in their 80s but have a memory function like people 20 or 30 years younger. What's this about? Right.
This is an interesting term, right? Super agers. And in this particular study, they looked at 119 octogenarians, that is, people who were in their 80s. And these were divided into two categories based on mental tests and memory tests that they did. And 64 of them turned out to be these super agers who had memories equivalent to 20, 30-year younger people. Now, of course, the question that comes up is, what are they doing different? And the researchers looked at that. They gave them questionnaires about their diet, about their exercise habits, alcohol habits, tobacco smoking, etc. The big surprise was that there was no significant difference in any of these parameters. Their diet was not particularly healthier than the others. Some of them even smoked. Their weight was no different. In exercise, at that age, in their 80s, they were exercising the same. That is, the superagers and the others were exercising the same. But the superagers in their middle age had exercised much more. So that is the one thing that came out of this, is that exercise earlier on life is conducive to having better memory later. But it was a little bit surprising that they found no relationship to diet. Now, of course, we know that there are other relationships to diet in terms of heart disease, cancer, diabetes, etc. But in terms of memory, it didn't make any difference. So there you go. There's the story of the superagers. Based on this study, more exercise in middle age is what really works in order to have improved memory when you're in your 80s.
Yeah, of course, the problem with that is now if you're in your 70s or 80s and you're hearing this and didn't work out in your 50s or 60s, you're kind of behind the eight ball here.
You are, but it's never too late to start exercising, never mind for memory issues, but for all the other conditions that I mentioned. And that there's just no doubt about. Virtually every day we get some new study that comes out that links activity. And it doesn't have to be marathon running, or weightlifting, hundreds of pounds. Just 30 minutes of sustained activity 5 times a week is really what is beneficial. And fast walking is as good as jogging. That's something that, we've learned over the last few years. So exercise is great no matter at what age you start it.
Although, again, to that point, fast walking, that's not the same as recreational walking. That's not really much of an exercise. I mean, it's better than nothing, right? But not much in the way of exercise.
Right. No, I mean, you should feel that you're walking faster than you would normally be walking. Yeah.
All right. So let's move on. First of all, I will just tell you, I find this fascinating every time this comes up. We all know that we should, be moving our bodies and that lean muscle is important. But to link it directly to memory, that's really quite something.
Yeah, it is. It is. And again, what was surprising in that study, as I said, is that the diet was not linked.
Yeah.
Because there's so much talk about that, and all of the memory supplements and all of that, and none of that makes any difference.
Okay. I don't know what this thing is, a Korean dish. I'm going to mispronounce it, obviously.
Yes, I didn't know it either. It's spelled Doenjang.
Doenjang? Oh, doenjang. Okay.
Which is a fermented soybean paste that apparently is big in Korea. And the reason that I mention it is because they did a study using this to study menopausal symptoms. And when women reach menopause, some have no symptoms at all, and some are terribly bothered by hot flashes and dryness, etc. And hormone replacement therapy with estrogen certainly does work. It reduces the symptoms, but it also slightly increases the risk of breast cancer, and that, of course, scares a lot of women away from that, even though that increase in risk is very, very small. And when someone is terribly bothered by those symptoms, one might take that risk. But here they took a look at these fermented soybean products because we know that in Asia, women have at least complain much less about menopausal symptoms than they do in the West. It might be that they're just less prone to complaining. But I think there's a good chance that they have less symptoms, and that's because the soy consumption in Asia is much greater than it is in the West. And soy contains compounds called isoflavones, which can act as estrogens. And so they will reduce the symptoms of menopause. And so far, there has been no study that showed that soybeans are associated with any kind of risk. Now, in this particular case, with this paste, they actually questioned women, and they did blood tests, and they measured their temperature and stuff, and it turned out that they really did have fewer menopausal symptoms when they were taking these soybean. It's actually, they were taking pills made of this fermented soybean. So it's interesting. I don't know what to make of this because obviously nobody here is going to go out and purchase these things. But it means that soy foods, whether they be, edamame or soy sauce, may be beneficial in reducing the symptoms of menopause as well.
Okay. Interesting stuff today, as always. Joe, thanks so much. Appreciate it.